How impressed are you with the job that Buzz has done with Texas A&M in his first year there?
Yeah, he's done an incredible job. They remind me a lot in terms of how physical they are on their front line and how hard they play, like South Carolina. And I've watched them play now 3 games yesterday, and super impressive. They have more offensive rebounds in conference games than we do. We have 150 in 13 games. They have 159. They're incredibly physical and tough. You know, changing defenses, 1-2-2 press back to a matchup zone, back to man, switching man. They'll be show zone and be in man in the middle of possession. They got a lot of different things they do defensively. A lot of pressure. You know, I think it was the Tennessee game. They had 23 or 25 offensive rebounds at Tennessee. They had 23 against Missouri in the Missouri game just recently. They're monsters on the glass in terms of how hard they go. And they're very efficient offensively. You know, Mitchell's really playing well for them right now. He had a big game the other night in Tuscaloosa. Really played well, hit some big threes. Nebo, their leading scorer, has really been just a beast down low. You know, he's a senior, physical, really athletic, strong. They have a backup big, a coup comes in, who's just equally as physical as is Nebo, which is saying something. I mean, they're like those South Carolina guys, the same, you know, mode of how tough they are and how hard they play and how physical they are. You know, Savion Flagg, we played them twice last year. He had 21 and 23 respectively in those 2 games. He's very, very skilled, a hard matchup. You know, that's Robert's guy to start with. He's their starting 3. He's got the same body as Robert. You know, he's big, long, athletic, very skilled, shoots it. Jackson is a really good JC guard they have that transferred in from a junior college. I mean, he's as athletic and bouncy as anybody in our league, as you guys will see if when you watch. You know, Chandler's a good player. I love the freshman Miller, the starting power forward. I mean, he's got a great time motor. They have 3 guys that average over 2 offensive rebounds per game on their front line. So yeah, he's doing a great job, and their personnel is very good.
You've mentioned a lot this year how you try to get your team to be patient, especially on offense. How important is that going to be this weekend against A&M, because they require patience against their defense?
Yeah, they do, and I think that's critical, but at the same time, they're applying pressure to try to speed you up. So you've got to be able to handle that pressure and not get sped up. You've got to move the ball, and really, you know, we've got to get the ball inside. You know, we've got to attack the rim, you know, just like everybody we play against, and they make it very difficult. You know, so it's going to be a real challenge for us, and take care of the ball. We had way too many turnovers the other night. We must do a better job taking care of the basketball against Texas A&M, and they're going to be very aggressive with their defense and their presses.
We'll go to Brian's middle row, second row.
When you look at where your team sits right now with tournament predictions and things like that, does it already sort of feel like March? Does it already feel like there's sort of a survive and advance mentality?
You know, every game is so critical. You know, I mean, you know, we're obviously we go into every game. You know, the expectation of playing our very best and, you know, try to win that game. And every game is critical. 5 left, 1 at a time. And, you know, there's no easy games. That's what's, you know. Please give me an easy game. There's no such thing. I mean, it's just, you know, like I said, it's the gauntlet. You know, when it was funny, I got you guys will appreciate this. You know, my dad fought in World War II, and my uncle, his brother, was a Marine at Iwo Jima, and was the first group of guys that landed there, and where we lost 7,000. And it really impacted my uncle's life. And you know, so I got ripped one time this year at the you were there at the later, and unbeknownst to me, I'm at the media day for the SEC, and I talked about this league being, you know, something that I think when I think of like war, the Bataan Death March, you know, and what they made the Americans do and how they slit their Achilles tendons so they couldn't run. You know, I actually read all about it and learned about it because I have a personal stake with family having been part of it, and I got ripped by someone. They wrote me a note saying, "What are they doing?" And they were just, you know, upset because they had someone they had lost and that same thing. But I'm telling you, I mean, this league is so hard. Every game is so tough. I mean, I didn't mean to offend anybody when I made that comparison, but I mean, it is just brutal. I mean, it is so hard. It is so tough.
Coach, obviously, Reggie is the focal point of a lot of teams y'all play, and they're going to hang on him during the game and try to frustrate him. Obviously, he got frustrated the other night against South Carolina, and he has in other games. Is there a way to keep that from happening? And I know you talked to him about that, but you know, what's the way to balance that
But
frustration?
I think that, you know, you're bringing up a great point in that, you know, that's the, you know, idea of the defense is to try to just get as physical as you can without getting fouls called, so that you can, you know, try to, you know, really impact him with physicality. And, you know, and honestly, you know, it's just, you know, the officials have a hard, you know, job. I mean, it's very hard, as physical as these kids are today and as big and strong as they are. You know, he always bounces back and learns. I thought he did a great job in the second half with his composure because, you know, he's going against a guy who's 270, and I need to do a better job. And we talked about that. I'm not going to give you our game plan the next time we play, but I've got some better ideas of how to utilize him to give him a better opportunity offensively. And I wasn't doing a good job with him in that game, and I've got to do a better job getting him in positions where he's going to catch it with a little more room to operate. When you're going down there and the guy behind you is 6'11", 270, and just banging with you, it's just very difficult. So in reality, you know, a lot of that falls on my shoulders.
We'll go to Logan, first row to the right.
You know, when you face back-to-back physical teams like you're going to face this week, and then a team that rebounds as well as A&M does, do you anticipate using Prince and Keyshawn a little bit more just for a few minutes to kind of spell them?
We're going to have to, just from the standpoint of, you know, bodies, you know, size, and, you know, so I think that Keyshawn gave us good minutes again the other night. He didn't play as many as I anticipated him using. That's because Abdul was playing so well. And, you know, if you look at the plus minus, I mean, Abdul the other night, when he's in the game, we're plus 15. When his minutes were up 15. When he's out, I think it was either plus 3 or minus 3 was one or the other. It was, I think it was a 12-point difference or maybe 18. You know, if you look to his minutes and how important he is to our team, it's incredible. You know, so, and he's playing really well right now for us. I mean, I think he had 10 points in the first half and really did a nice job. And part of that, they're spending so much attention on Reggie. We've got to take more advantage of Abdul offensively because he's showing he can do it.
Obviously, you were high on DJ Stewart because you recruited and signed him, and you saw his athletic talent. Even though he was very even keel in high school, and you got to see him redshirt last year, and you bragged about him. But are you kind of surprised at how quickly he's matured to this game, and nothing seems to rattle DJ being a freshman?
I'm not surprised. You know, I knew it would take him some time. You know, he was a true freshman a year ago, but he's still a freshman this year, starting the year in terms of game experience. And, you know, our first scrimmage against TCU, he didn't score. You know, I mean, in other words, you know, it takes some time to get comfortable, but he's comfortable now. So I think he's, you know, playing as well as anybody on our team and does so much to help his team win. And it's so unselfish. And for anybody who knows DJ, there's just not a nicer young man, a better kid that you could ever hope for. I mean, it's just an absolute pleasure every day in practice, outside of practice, you know, with the trainers, with the academic support, with professors, with everybody. He's just a wonderful kid. I told him the other day, I said, DJ, you're one of the nicest kids I could ever coach. I mean, who do you owe that to? Is it your mom or your dad? It's both my parents. You know, it's just how I was raised, Coach. And it's, you know, it's really nice that he recognized right away. It's, you know, he gives all the credit to his mother and his father. You know, he comes from a really good family. You know, his aunts are here for every game. I mean, they make the trip every game. I mean, he's got a really beautiful, loving family. It's really neat.
You mentioned using Abdul on the offensive end more. The other night, it was a lot of entry passes to him where they threw it over the defender and he would just dunk it or lay it off the glass. Or was that, we hadn't seen that a whole lot this year. Is that something that you worked on a little bit more or more
Well,
focused
you know what?
on?
They were, in other words, the smaller of the two defenders was on him because they had Kostar, their best defender, on Reggie. So, and they were full fronting and denying it, so we were able to get him the ball some. And, you know, that was just, you know,
A matchup.
a matchup.
Anything else for Coach before we let him go?
Off the record, sorry to get